Sisters, they say, are your first best friends. The kind who know what you're thinking before you say it. Me and my sister were both 24 now, and this summer, we decided to live the life we always dreamed of. Free, happy, full of little adventures. So we packed some snacks and took a road trip, just the two of us. We had no plans, just the summer sun and the kind of freedom that feels like flying. When we arrived at the lake, everything slowed down. The water was flat and still, like glass, and the trees around it were tall and quiet. It felt like stepping into a painting. We found a soft patch of dirt and laid our picnic. Then Cynthia decided to dive in the car, to grab her phone like she used to do when we were kids. And this was the energy that stayed with us. This always happens when we're together. Our real age seems to erase itself. It's two little girls ready to have fun, explore and play. The sun was warm, but thankfully, the tall trees provided us with the perfect shade. And finally, it was time to eat. We enjoyed our carefully made sandwiches with cheese, salami, and our favorite onion and chive potato chips. And we took our time eating. Tiny bites, long sips of water, lots of stories, but mostly us sitting in silence, enjoying each other's company and the slowness that existed around us. That was until the sun caught up with us, and we had to carefully readjust our perfect picnic spot positioning. No phones in sight, just us, the lake, and the sun. Out of nowhere, a little dog showed up. He had 2 floppy ears and muddy paws, and acted like he had known us forever. He picked up that we had food out and started hovering around in the hopes he'll get some. And he did, obviously. We gave him some salami and cheese and a name, Cutie, because he was cute and little and we just wanted to grab him and hug him forever. He curled up between us and stayed, and at that moment we truly felt like we were the chosen ones. Then he got up and we tried playing with him. You know, the classic. Throw him a stick so he can catch it. Let's just say he wasn't interested. Not his vibe. After Gifty left, we walked into the forest behind the lake. The air was cooler under the trees, and the light came through the leaves like little stars. We started throwing pine nuts at each other just for fun, laughing so hard our sides hurt. We kept increasing the distance between us to see how far we can throw. Not gonna lie, I was impressed. For a few minutes, we weren't grown-ups. We were just kids again, wild and silly and free. At the edge of the forest, we found an old wooden hut. The sign said horse rides 10 euros, but there were no horses, just dust and silence. Still, we went inside. It smelled like old wood and warm air. We went behind the till and played shop like we used to when we were 10. One behind the till and the other pretending to be the customer. And then, I remembered I left my phone in the forest, so in true younger sister core, I made Cynthia drive back and get it for me. The lake looked different up close. It had these huge reeds that were dancing in the wind, making it impossible not to stare at them. The light wasn't golden yet, and the air was loud. However, there was a weird peace in the atmosphere. There, at the edge of the water, the world felt safe. And then, the wind started blowing harder, and we opened our hands and pretended we were birds just going with it. We laid down on the blanket again and began the second round of snacking. Fruits. Lots of fresh fruits we had picked up that morning on our way there. I haven't addressed the elephant in the room yet. I had sprained my ankle 3 days prior just by walking with flip-flops on the grass, so according to the doctor, I shouldn't even have gone there. But that was none of my business in that current moment. All I cared about was that juicy melon that I outsourced to Cynthia to cut as I didn't have the patience. We packed up and drove on the other side of the lake as well. going through lush green trees that made you feel like you were stepping through the gates of some sort of a fairy tale. And there was the opposite side. Emptier of trees, richer in water activities, although the guy running the activities was missing, as it was a random Tuesday in the middle of summer. Once again, it was mesmerizing to see the dance nature had with the wind. The water sparkling under the sun, and the empty dog standing still on water, patiently waiting for someone to step on it on their way to their next adventure, alongside with the rest of the seaboat equipment. Nature has a funny way of existing calmly in our absence, reminding us that we are nothing but dust, briefly moving through a world that existed long before us and will continue to exist long after us. We may think briefly and naively that it belongs to us, but we have to remind ourselves of the truth. We belong to it, not the other way around.